Many MDAs ignore the committee's request for compliance information, thereby disregarding the powers of the committee and the Senate in general. Some NDAs fail to implement the resolution, especially in cases of road rehabilitation and disaster management due to non-inclusion of funds in the budget for the project. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency is yet to address the medical treatment of the child, Eromosele Omoria, who is shot in the eye by the agency's officers due to its inability to access the fund from the confiscated and forfeited properties account to facilitate the child's treatment. So we also have the problem with the Nigerian Army reinstatement of certain officers that were the Senate do resolve that they should be reinstated. The armed forces generally have refused to reinstate this staff despite our best effort. The committee recommends that the Senate apply budgetary and other sanctions to MDAs that fail to respond to or implement resolution of the Senate.
Appreciate the initiative of Senator Dankwambo in crafting this draft bill. From recent reports, even in advanced countries, we have seen where revelations have been made that foreign countries have had under the cover of aid to send resources, equipment to certain persons to carry out activities against their own nation state. We have our own fair share of patriotic citizens, but the truth be told, there is no nation that doesn't have its own share of citizens who might want to take advantage of the soft line. Listening to this bill and all that have been said about it, I think there are two broad issues here. One is those donations accruing to government from all sorts of sources. And any money accruing to Nigeria, in my view, within the broad definition of the responsibility of the Senate, ought to be reported, recorded, and how it is used ought to be something that the Senate can oversight. That for me is straightforward. The one that we need to explain so that people who might choose to misunderstand this act is to the extent that we seek for full disclosure of resources that are transferred to NGOs or civil societies.
Nigeria remains a major recipient of foreign aid in the forms of grants, technical assistance, humanitarian support, and concessional financings from bilateral and multilateral partners. While these inflows have contributed significantly to viable sectors such as health, education, agriculture, and humanitarian responses, it is a matter of public record that our foreign aid ecosystem is fragmented, weakly coordinated, and insufficiently transparent. Today, donor-funded projects are scattered across ministries, departments, and agencies, or sometimes executed outside the national budget framework, or occasionally duplicated or misaligned with national priorities. This weak coordination undermines efficiency, reduces value for money, and in some cases, erodes public trust. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this bill finds strong footing in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended. Section 80 and 83 of the Constitution vest the control of public funds in the National Assembly, and Section 85 empowers the Auditor General to audit all public accounts. Accordingly, foreign aid once received and applied within Nigeria, constitute public resources and must therefore be subjected to constitutional oversight, transparency, and accountability. Furthermore, the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007 requires prudent management of public resources and integration of all revenues and expenditure into a coherent fiscal framework.
Right now, in the Committee on Agriculture, we have a situation where funds have been received, and yet they are not recorded in the budget. And we are working to ensure that such money is put into use. Not only that, Mr. President, donor agencies will have confidence if they are sure that the money is going to be prudently utilized.
Most of the foreign monies coming into the country are not for progress of the country. Some of them are meant to destabilize the country, particularly from undisclosed sources and undisclosed organizations, and they are not properly accounted for. I've also witnessed a lot of adverts sponsored by this group, sponsored by that group, sponsored by this, running into millions. So, and these are not adverts that cannot be sponsored by some of the agencies in Nigeria. But I think with this bill, if we proceed further, we'll be able to dig deep and understand exactly where the money is coming from and all that. Because I made the first observation in the 8th Senate, way back when I noticed that most of the organizations that came to Nigeria were renting properties in Borno State, in Meduguri, and they will come and rent properties for 12 years minimum, 15 years, and all that. And I said, if Boko Haram just started, and it's not even up to 2 years, does it mean that these people foresee a situation whereby the Boko Haram will fester for up to 15 years? So your guess is as good as mine. Today, Boko Haram is still around, coming in different forms. ISIS, ISWAP, this, and all that. So I think they knew that this thing was going to last for years, because if there is no oxygen, Boko Haram would not be breathing. So you are right. We have to track these monies. We have to know where these monies are coming from and for what purpose, and then so that we don't end up receiving donations that would tend to destabilize Nigeria and lead to a lot of divisions.